and its so-called president, al-Sisi. Is al-Sisi really a patriotic Egyptian military man? I don't think so. When al-Sisi overthrew the first democratically elected government in 5,000 years of Egyptian history, it wasn't surprising that the Israeli ambassador called al-Sisi a national hero for all Jews. A national hero for all Jews. Sisi obviously overthrew the Egyptian government on behalf of his paymasters in Tel Aviv. Everything he's done since then bears this out. And of course, it's no secret that al-Sisi was the Israeli liaison to the Egyptian military during his time as a general. When the Israeli liaison to an Arab country's military, an Arab country that, by the way, is largely occupied by and on behalf of Israel, taking billions of dollars from the American taxpayer in return for doing whatever Israel tells it, that military liaison, in this case al-Sisi, is obviously very, very close to the Israelis, and that such a person would be the one to lead a coup d'etat, essentially that in itself. Since taking power, al-Sisi has been taking one step after another to benefit the Israelis. He's allowed the Israelis to destabilize the Sinai. So-called ISIS in the Sinai is another Israeli-supported paramilitary operation that's used to justify closing the border with Gaza, declaring a state of emergency, and so on. And al-Sisi has gone along with all of that. But most importantly, recently, General al-Sisi is working with Trump and Netanyahu, plan to formally, quote-unquote, end the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which really means turning the whole region over to Israel. Basically, it's the Greater Israel Plan. It's no secret that the two blue stripes on the Israeli flag symbolize the Nile and the Euphrates. The Israelis believe that the Bible gives them all of that land, and they are planning to take it. And they have taken. They own everything up to and including the Nile today. And al-Sisi is giving away Egypt's biggest strategic assets. Not only is he rolling over in front of this plan to dam the Nile and starve Egypt, but he's also giving away the two islands in the Red Sea that are crucial strategic assets for Egypt. These two islands command the Straits of Aqaba along Egypt's eastern border. They are key to the Israelis, who took them. They are going to just hand these islands to Saudi Arabia, which in turn is handing them over to Israel. This is an outrage, as everybody in Egypt who's not on the Israeli payroll knows. The Saudi royal family is also very close to the Zionists. They always have been, but only recently have they come out and admitted it and created the beginnings of a formal alliance. And now the Saudis bribed al-Sisi apparently to the tune of $20 billion, but that's just a formality. Muslim Brotherhood, whatever one may think of its capabilities when it was briefly in power, was talking about abrogating the Camp David Accords. It was talking about actually defending Egypt against this attempt to commit genocide against Egypt by damming the Nile. The government of President Morsi at one point was considering becoming allied to or opening up friendly relations with Iran. And all of these are no-no by people who think that they can compromise with the West and with the Zionists. And that doesn't work. You have to either execute, permanently imprison, or exile people like al-Sisi, people who are agents of the hostile powers that are occupying your country. In that revolutionary situation where a nation is trying to take back its autonomy and become a free country once again, when the Egyptian people finally rise up and take back their country from the likes of al-Sisi and his Israeli army of occupiers, they have to be removed from any chance of power, any chance of undermining your revolution. The Egyptian people don't have very long to act because they're losing their country very, very quickly. They're not just losing the Gulf, they're essentially handing over their country to Greater Israel. The Nile is currently in the hands of Israel. They're taking the islands in the Red Sea. This threat of genocide against Egypt through damming the Nile is looming heavier and heavier over Egypt. Egypt needs to be taken back by patriots. Mainstream Egyptian media doesn't want to tell the truth about these things to the people of Egypt because it's owned by the same kinds of people who own the media here in the United States.